Hey, I'm David. Welcome to my channel, My Yard Sale. So on my channel here, I talk a lot about my health and the difficulties that I'm having with my health in regards to my metabolic issues. Probably not as much diabetes or prediabetes anymore because I eat very little sugar, so I don't know if it would be diabetes or prediabetes. But I am starting to see some reversal and potentially getting better in my situation. And you can look at my other posts and that would describe and explain to you exactly what I'm feeling, how things are going for me, and so forth. But today I wanted to talk about specifically one of the things that I can remember back thinking that there was possibly something wrong, but I had no idea. But now thinking back, I realize it was a definite indicator, and it was definitely an indicator that there was something wrong, and I could have made some changes at that point, and things may have turned out a little bit differently for me. It may have been a little bit easier. And at this point, I'm hoping that this post will help some of you folks realize what I should have realized probably 10 years ago. And if you have anybody that's having these same type symptoms, I'm hoping that you'll go ahead and share this with them. And maybe they'll be able to avoid some of the difficulties and the frustrations that I've had to deal with. So, first thing is probably about 10 years ago, maybe even a little bit longer. Well, I used to travel quite a bit for work. So I was constantly behind the wheel of my car. I was driving sometimes all day and oftentimes hundreds of miles during the week. So I spent a lot of time at rest areas, eating, going to the bathroom, recreating, just generally just relaxing. And a big part of that cycle for me was Starbucks. Now, I loved Starbucks. I would still probably drink a little tiny Starbucks, but now I'm realizing that drinking that Starbucks is the first time that I thought that something may have been wrong. And the reason why I'm thinking that is because I can remember I would drive down to New York City. I live upstate, so it's 3 hours. In that 3 hours, either I would drink either one. I would go to McDonald's and I would drink a shake or I would have a shake, which is another horrible thing that I'm sure caused me half my problems. But when I went to Starbucks, I would always go to Starbucks as I was getting close to the end of my journey, and I would have a Starbucks before I got home because I thought it would give me some energy and I would be more awake from a long day of travel, and I would just be more, awake around my house. But what I didn't think about back then, and I did realize then actually to the point where I actually made a mention to my daughter, and I even mentioned it to some of my friends. When I drank Starbucks, I knew that it was negatively impacting me. I would get home after finishing my Starbucks, and I would come into my house. I would go sit in my big luxurious chair, and it would always be nice and warm in that room. So of course it was like a sauna. But that sugar spike would just it would just crush me and I would end up passing out, like falling asleep for probably a matter of hours. I would fall asleep until the sugar spike was definitely gone. But sometimes I would get home like 2 or 3 in the afternoon and I would be asleep until 5 or 6 o'clock at night, laying in my chair, just completely asleep. I thought it was because of the heat, and I didn't necessarily think it was because of the Starbucks. I thought it could have been because of the McDonald's shake, which it probably was the McDonald's shake, as well as the Starbucks. But that Starbucks, I didn't realize back then how much sugar was in a Starbucks drink. And then on top of that, the caffeine in the Starbucks shake, which I thought was doing me good, partnered with the caffeine and the sugar, just negatively impacted my body and made it so my body just kind of Didn't shut down where I would pass out and fall down, but it would shut down where as soon as I sat down, I would be out cold. I'd be asleep. And there was nothing waking me up either. Like, I mean, I could wake up, but nothing like would naturally just wake me up until my system cycled all that stuff out of my system. So this thing was Starbucks. Why Starbucks? And potentially McDonald's as well, depending on what you get there. But Starbucks has that really high caffeine coffee, and they have that super, super high sugar, and then who knows what other stuff they put in those coffees that could have been potentially part of the problem. But I know that the caffeine and the sugar negatively impacted me. And back then, if I would have known what I know now, I would have taken the Starbucks as a warning. Maybe I would have stopped eating Starbucks, stopped drinking Starbucks. At one point, I knew I was having a problem with coffee. I thought it was the caffeine, and I knew that the sugar was a problem because I ate so much sugar. It was ridiculous how much sugar I ate. So I started adding sweet and low to my coffee. And even then, I would still have some metabolic issues, which I think was the caffeine. But that was minor compared to what would happen to me when I drank Starbucks coffee. So if you love Starbucks coffee like I did, and you drink a Starbucks coffee, and you feel like you're having physical issues, and it's not physical issues like, you don't pass out while you're walking, you don't start dropping things constantly, but it just makes staying awake very difficult. Or if you know somebody that's having these problems, share this post with them. Share my channel with them. They may be able to get some information from this channel that'll be helpful. So again, my warning to myself should have been when I realized that when I drank a Starbucks coffee, it physically impacted me negatively. It didn't give me energy. It didn't give me pep. It knocked me out. It made me feel like I was going to pass out, or I did pass out. It made me fall asleep. Like I couldn't get myself motivated until I would sleep for probably at least 30 minutes to 40 minutes. But so that should have been an indicator. And then from then on, kind of, that's when I think that my body metabolically got sort of turned around because now it's like I don't have to drink a Starbucks coffee. If I eat the right amount of sugar, I can't drink coffee at all because caffeine doesn't it doesn't work in my body right. Like I don't even know how to explain it. I haven't had coffee in so long I don't remember exactly even what it does. But it negatively impacts me. But that coffee, Starbucks coffee, it probably would have been Dunkin' 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 coffee. It probably would have been Wawa coffee. It's all the coffees that are super high caffeine, the delicious ones that are super high in sugar as well. Those are the ones that negatively impacted me the worst. And if you find that you're drinking coffee with sugar, really high caffeine sugar, and you're having physical issues, that probably would be a good indicator that getting your blood sugar checked may be a good idea, or even talking to a doctor, I suppose. I wish that I would have gotten my blood sugar checked back then. I wish I would have been more regular with doctor visits. I could have probably avoided a lot of the difficulty and the metabolic issues that I'm having today if I would have done this, I don't know, like 10 years ago. I'm not really good with needles, so that was kind of something that kept me from wanting to get blood tests. But knowing what I know now, if I would have known this back then, I would have gotten the blood test, gotten things figured out, and hopefully avoided the difficulty that I've had in the last 5 to 10 years of my life. These last 5 to 10 years. So I'm happy to say now I don't drink coffee at all, unfortunately. I don't even drink caffeinated tea. I just can't drink it. I can't drink caffeine anything. I would love a coffee, but I just can't have it. And again, I'm balancing back and forth between sugar and no sugar. And part of the reason that inspired me to post this particular post is I'm having some difficulties with even eating too much burger patties. If I eat 3 burger patties, I have metabolic issues. And as I'm sitting here thinking, well, what the heck? Why are burger patties causing me problems? I started thinking, oh, I wish I would have realized what I knew back then. Wish I would have realized what I was realizing back then with the Starbucks stuff. I feel like Starbucks, there's no benefit in Starbucks. They make the coffee way too strong. They add too much sugar and all those squirts of delicious stuff. Who the heck knows what's even in all that? Anyways, if you thought this was interesting, do me a favor. Give me a thumbs up. And if you are interested in more posts like this, I post, well, at this point, I'm kind of posting a couple times a week, but I post every Sunday with my updates. And then I do a couple posts throughout the week when something comes to my mind that I think that people should know. Anyways, hope you're having a great day. Thanks for watching. See you soon. Bye bye. Bye, everybody.